Diversity is justification for having non-black features. They say, hey, what is black features? Remember, black is Negroid, Negroid is black. They say, what's that? Wide nose aperture, pronoptism, known as Jure. Wide nose, woolly hair, everted lips, E1B1A. Then we get down to the E1B1B, narrow nose aperture, or synostism. So that's straight jaw. That's the complete opposite. Wide aperture, narrow aperture, forward jaw, straight jaw. So the whole composition, the foundation, it's not bone of my bone. This is a Caucasian skull. This is a Negroid skull. Let's run a gauntlet. So remember, genetics only affect genetics. So we was looking into the aquiline nose of Haile Selassie. They said his Semitic Hamitic, so that's a double whammy. Semitic Hamitic bloodlines show in his stern jaw, the narrow jaw situation, and the aquiline nose. Aquiline nose is also a hook nose, an eagle nose. So that's the eagle bird game. That's a bird game. So his historical significance, in some cultures, the aquiline nose has been seen as a sign of nobility. Don't they play the nobility in leadership? I'm noble, you're jealous of me. Leadership, noble. That's what this is from. This is a Roman nose. But this is a genetic, it's inherited. You don't deal with the climate. You don't evolve. Genetics affect genetics. Don't let them cap. You don't mate with the time or the climate. Does not affect genetics. Only genetics affect genetics. Diversity means different. This is a Roman nose. So look up aquiline nose, aka Roman nose. Interchangeable. Same shape. Then we already exposed that the skin pigmentation of the Negroid population varies from dark brown to light brown. You understand? Negroids, including the population, blah, 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 blah. Negroid physical traits such as broad facial features, that's the wide nose. Negroid cranial and dental characteristics, forward jaw, and woolly hair. When you lack in these Negroid traits, you are dark-skinned Caucasoid, Hamitic, Ethiopiot, or Arab, or an Australoid. All Cymatria Igilix. So anybody with Negroid features is a Negroid. Negroids have Negroid features. Why we gotta play these games? Your DNA is gonna be reflected in your features. They just made up DNA tested in 1985. They always been describing people's characteristics. You can put the characteristics side by side with the haplogroups. You're gonna see narrow noses with E1B1A and wide noses with E1B1A. Excuse me. You can see narrow noses with E1B1B and wide noses with E1B1A. Y'all know what I mean? Shit. Let's run it on. Let's do some more reading. The Mesolithic period. Negroid skull excavated in yada yada yada, Sudan. The specimen is believed to be ancestral to the local Nilotic population and is closely resembles the crania of modern Nilo-Saharan / Niger Congo. Nilo-Saharan / Niger Congo. Do you see the bars in that? That's both wide nose, woolly hair, pronoptis on both sides. Note the marked pronoptism. They mention it, the forward jaw. Look, common traits of the African Negroid. Come on, man. Come on, man. Let's run a gauntlet. The Kushite ancestry is Oris Gnostic. The African ancestry is Pronoptis. Say the Kushite ancestry is Oris Gnostic, and the African is Pronoptis. Pronoptis Australian, Pronoptis African, Oris Gnostic European. They said the European is Oris Gnostic. You see what I'm saying? They don't have the forward jaw, they don't have the wide nose aperture, nor do they have the woolly hair. This is a Caucasoid skeletal cranial whole jump off. It's not Australian. So remember when we was looking at the other document where they were saying they referred to them as dark-skinned Caucasoids or Australoids. That can't be the case because Australoids are Pronoptis. So remember when they mentioned Lucy, you mentioned that Lucy is Pronoptis because an Australian skull is Pronoptis. Also, they have a wide nose aperture. So the Australian is wide nose and Pronoptis, and you're neither. Let's run a gauntlet. Again, Australians have their own skull, so they're not an Australoid. You see what I'm saying? They got a narrow nose and a straight jaw, so they're Caucasoid. Remember, our skull type is Congoid, wide nose, woolly head, Pronoptus. Capoids have their own skull type. You see what I'm saying? So if you're capoid, you have your own skull type. Australoids, you have your own skull type. Congoids are interchangeable with Negroid. Let's run the gauntlet. So remember, a Mongoloid and a capoid has their own skull type. You see what I'm saying? Separate situations. Neither coming from neither. This is a separate ancestry. You have a separate skull type. You have a separate ancestry. But y'all do have the same head texture. So the Caucasoid with this damn Australoid. So remember that the Indian is a Caucasoid skull. But their head texture, their gilix. These are Cymatria. An Australian is a Cymatria. A Mongoloid is a Liatria. He's the straight hair. Peppercorn, they're Eulatria. We're kinky coily. We're Eulatria. So the capoid and the Congoid are the only woolly head Jurirs on this situation. Remember, a Nilotic is a Congoid. So this is just Negro. So wide nose, woolly head, push you head, Congoid. Unless you got this different situation, you could be capoid. So this is the only African situation, technically, per skull. South Africa, Central Africa. See what I'm saying? Congoid, Congo, that's the Congo River. But the capoid, that ain't no river. The capoid is this the South Cape. South Africa. It's running gauntlet. So I'm looking at the whole get up. They dealing with the bird phoenix situation, all bird everything. Children of Adam, children of Abraham, children of the light. Desert dwellers. They don't really deal in them tropics or really them Arctics when you think about it, because the Mongoloid in the Arctics and in the tropics over there in South America and in the goddamn cold areas. But it's different types of Jurirs, different type of deserts, forests, tropical rainforests. This shit gets deep. We gonna get in all that. Remember, we got the rainforest wet situation. They dealing in the dry situation. See, the double dry game is a double whammy. It go from tropic to temperate, double desert. The rainforest only stays here in the wet. See, the rainforest has the tallest trees. And then with the rainforest, you have you got a 4-layer situation. You see? They're dealing in the desert. So even on this joint, you go to this right, it gets dry. So this is basically like going right, and that's like going right. So all those ways is like turning right. Turn right, dry. Right, dry. Right, dry. So all this shit would be the east. Middle Eastern desert climate. Games. They probably put all this, they added this to Africa. Nah, but they did say this was green. So remember when we go to E1B1A, that's Eulatria. All these groups are wide nose and woolly hair. They pheomelon with the yellow skin, but they wide nose, woolly headed Eulatria. Remember Cymatria, that's what I was talking about, where they fall under their head texture family. They're Australians, Dravidians, Ethiopians, or Hemetics of Northeast Africa. All these are Indians, pre-Dravidians, and Hemetics. Come on, Australians, same wavy hair. This is wavy hair division of mankind. We're woolly hair division of mankind. So look, we come from short to tall, dark-skinned, yellow-skinned. Remember we seen dark skin was light brown to dark brown. Remember, brown is a dark color. Brown is not part of the light spectrum. Again, remember that water is that black game. So remember, the black area is the water area, is the wet area. Water, wet, black. And then we dealing in the wood game too, because that's the trees. We got the trees, we got the water, we got the earth. The cave dominate through metal and fire. Metal and fire dominance. They dominate the earth, mining the earth, cutting down the trees, pirates in the water, polluting the water, controlling the water, all type of laws for the water. all type of regulations from burning down the wood or cutting down the wood. And remember this for educational purposes. This may rub some feathers and shake some cave, but king's rear is in your way. Right? I'm so fit, I don't